Bonjour, bonsoir. I'm Joanna Minor, born, raised, and living in Haiti. I've been a successful lawyer for more than 25 years, owning my own practice. I'm also a legal educator, public speaker, entrepreneur, and fierce advocate of women empowerment. Our goal with this show is to empower you, great women of my country, give you advices on entrepreneurship, leadership, and business. And at the same time, build a positive image of Haiti to encourage investment. I really hope all these life journeys and experiences will inspire you to become the great person you are born to be anywhere in planet Earth. Welcome to Her Life, Her Haiti. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to Her Life, Her Haiti. Today we have with us another great Haitian entrepreneur woman. Her name is Jeudi. Rose was born in the States from a Haitian mother and a Dominican father. And she went to school in Connecticut and she got her HR degree and master I think also. And she decided to come and live in Haiti without knowing the life here. She used to come for vacation, but she decided to come back and work in Haiti. Her first job was at Voila, which is one of the, I don't think it exists anymore, was one of the biggest telecommunication company. And from there, she stayed a year as an HR director and decided after that to open her own HR company. So we are going to speak with her today and she will explain to us her upbringing, of course, her life first, and then how she sees herself as an entrepreneur here in Haiti, her challenges as a woman, as a Haitian, and all that jazz. And she also will give some advice to all women entrepreneurs and talk also about opportunities here in Haiti. And help me welcome Jeudi. Hello. Who's with us today and is going to tell us about her story, her upbringing, and her life and her Haiti. Welcome, Rose.
Thank you for having me here.
How are you?
Setup, by the way.
Thank you. We're trying. We are going to have another one. Well, I was waiting to get all my stuff I ordered some of the things in Amazon and some at Home Depot. However, with the situation nowadays in Haiti, I couldn't go back and ship them. So I had to use this setup for now. And then the viewers will see the next setup in a few months.
Beautiful.
I hope.
Well, even before I start, let me say congratulations. This is to be admired because it's so hard to find Haitian women promoting other Haitian women.
Thank you very much.
I think
That's very close to my heart.
Yeah, and I think this is something that we are lacking specifically within the professional environment, where you can step aside and give somebody else the opportunity to shine. And I think we need to do more than that. So this is really beautiful.
Thank you very much. And I always say that when one woman shines, every other women, we shine together.
Exactly.
So we have to, especially that we are Haitian, black women, there's a lot of challenges for us.
Living in Haiti in a predominantly male world.
Yes, definitely. And this is what I want to show with the show. So that's the purpose of it. So for our viewers, so you'll start by presenting yourself and let us know a little bit about you.
Okay, as you know, my name is Jeudi. I'm sure a lot of people within the corporate environment has heard of me. Have not seen me, because I'm very shy and I like to be under the radar. Was raised in Connecticut, but predominantly at the time white environment. So as a child, it was really hard growing up with 3 different cultures. My mother was really typical Haitian woman. My father was Dominican, and then I also had to adapt to the white American environment. After high school, I went to school in Manhattan, Berkeley University. I completed my high school in Connecticut, where at the time we were referred to as the boat people. So the challenges start there. We were 3% minorities in the environment at the time. And it was an everyday struggle to say, you know what, I'm Haitian, then so what? You know?
But you need guts to say that.
Yes, but thanks to my father mostly, because my dad was always someone who taught me how to fight for myself. You can tell I didn't have much friends, because I was always the rebel. Proud to be Haitians. During cultural days, I would bring voodoo music. When the kids would like pick on me, I would be like, I'm gonna do voodoo on you, you know? So I think the challenges start there, but it also shaped me into who I am. Afterwards, I went to Manhattan, to Berkeley College to obtain my BA and my first master's as an MBA. And from there, I progressed into who I am today. What challenges did I face?
But how come you ended up here back in Haiti? Because you were born in the States,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Then studied, born, raised, and you studied over there. Why did you come back to our country? Because usually it's the opposite.
Our country.
It's usually the opposite. So how?
Mainly, I would say it's my mother, because my dad wanted to retire in Costa Rica. Okay? My dad hated Haiti. But my mother always made sure to remind me that I have families back home. Her two sisters were in Haiti and Jacmel, and she always made it a point to ensure that we come on to vacation. She gave us Creole classes and always reminded us, you Haitian. And when we were doing something bad, okay, so my mother really kept very close ties.
Meaning that when you come back home, you're gonna be kicked.
Yeah, you know, yeah, exactly. So my grandmother, whom I've heard stories about that really loved and admired me, who sacrificed a lot for my mother when she was pregnant with me, I always wanted to at least spend 2 or 3 years before she dies, and this was my main motivation to come back. I wanted to be with my grandmother. While I was living in Florida, one day I called my mother and I said, I'm moving back home. And she said, so are we coming back to Connecticut? I'm like, no, Mom, I'm home to Haiti. And she said, seriously? I'm like, yeah. And at the time, not today because I'm older and I'm wiser, I thought I could take on the world. And that was my father. You know, I felt like I could accomplish anything I wanted to accomplish, no matter how difficult it was. I went into a search engine at the time called monster.com. I typed Haiti. And voila. Comcel Voila at the time.
That's a
telecommunication company.
Yeah.
Was recruiting for an HR manager. I had just finished my master's in HR. Okay, sounds good, I applied. Within 2 hours, they called me.
Oh my God.
I had my phone interview, and 2 days later, I was on a plane for an interview face-to-face. And a week and a half later, I was selling my condos and everything that I had in the States, and I'm moving here without any guidance, any close relations to anyone. I'm moving to Haiti, and that's how I ended up here.
And you stayed?
I stayed. I stayed, yes, I stayed. But when we talk about women, when we talk about Haitian women, when we talk about the job market, when we talk about challenges, it was a tough, very hard adaptation process for me. I thought I would be coming here and I would be welcomed. Yes, so I thought coming here in Haiti, I would be welcome. And
of course you're Haitian, yeah.
As I didn't even consider myself as a diaspora. I felt myself as a Haitian.
Probably they thought of you as a diaspora.
A diaspora.
Yeah.
I was hated. Completely hated.
That's in Comcel, the job, first of all.
Yes, first and foremost, I was not ready and prepared for the corporate environment that we have here in Haiti. I was brought here out of 7 directors. I was the only female. I was the only female. I was the only foreigner. I was never accepted as an American because, you know, throughout my life, my mother made sure that I had Creole classes. So I came with my broken Creole thinking that they would think that it's a beautiful thing. I would be criticized. And of course, my French was terrible. And so I was not accepted as a full American. I was never accepted as a Haitian either.
Wow. That's a huge challenge.
It's a huge challenge. I will be forever, forever grateful for Voila because they were my stepping stone into who I am today, but it was one of the most difficult process and challenges in my life. I didn't have any friends, no one wanted to hang out with me. Not other directors in the department felt like I was hired because I was an American or I spoke English. They never understood that I had the background, the academic background, to be where I am today.
And it's probably, well, I don't know, but let me ask you that. Do you think it's because you were a woman or just someone coming from the States? What do you think?
I think it was both. It is sad to say that in Haiti, they don't see us as brains. They don't see us as women who can think for themselves, who can think for a company, and who can assist a company in growing.
Which is a huge mistake, because we are like 51% of the population, first of all, and second of all, everybody knows that a Haitian mom is the stone, the pillar of any kind of family. But they still treat us like, you know, you're just there to work, bring in the money, but you're just there.
But you said it right, they see us as moms, as housekeepers.
Yeah.
They don't
That's
see
true.
us as governors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brains or
exactly.
Entrepreneurs. Yes.
So CEOs. I think they saw me as someone to execute their decisions. And where I come from as an HR professional, you are part of the strategy. You are part of the technical team. Here it was like, you do this, you fire this, you hire this. And I was not used to that. And you know what? Sadly, I had a harder time with my female than I did with my male counterparts.
They always say that also. Women makes it harder for other women.
More difficult.
Yes, that's why we are behind, because men, they keep together, even if they have their issues, yes. But to grow, they step aside, they grow together, even if they don't become friends. You don't have to be my friend. However, if we do this and it's going to make us, you know, look good or advance in life, they will do it.
Let's respect each other.
They don't, yes.
Exactly,
like
today you invited me here and the first thing that came to my mind, this is a beautiful lady because she's supporting other Haitian women, but it's not the same. And the challenges didn't only lay there, it laid also in the job market here in Haiti, the way things function. So imagine me out of La La Land coming here, holding a very high title with a very popular company, thinking I'm going to make a difference. I didn't know much about the cultures of how companies operated here. I think they saw in me a brain that can execute what they wanted to be executed.
But do not think.
Do not think.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I remember I joined Comcel, I'll never forget this, March 8, 2008. March 30th, 2008, my resignation letter was already typed.
Did you know what you were going to do after?
No.
Had an idea?
No, today I think, back then I had enough confidence in myself to know wherever I land or whatever I do, I'm going to be okay. I spent a year there. It was a beautiful experience in the sense of I learned how to grow up. I think when we're in the States, we take a lot of things for granted.
That's true.
We think that the labor law is going to protect us. Here is a little bit different. And being who I am, I can say at the time I was gullible. I was used a lot, you know?
Yes.
I felt like everybody made me feel like I was the luckiest person in this world, so I needed to carry the entire Haiti on my back, which I'm still struggling with, but I'm doing better. I think I've been very blessed in my life. And I have the tendency of always putting myself in positions where I am sacrificing myself for the benefit of others, which Haiti does not operate like that.
But you told me also that your father was one of your biggest cheerleader also.
Oh yes, if I say to the dad, you know what, I'm gonna jump into the sea and I'm gonna swim to Cuba. She's gonna be, you go baby, you can do it. You know, I believe in you.
That's a great thing, that's very important.
I believe in you.
That's very
My
important.
mother would be like, oh my gosh, you're going to die. So I had two different upbringing. My dad made me feel I could conquer the world. When I called him and I said, I got a job, my dad was like, you go. My mother cried for 3 months. So it was, my dad made me feel that I can do this. Yeah. After my experience with Voila, and I need to tell you this too, And people need to be careful about this, about intimidation here in Haiti. They brought me here, I had no one. I had really no family members, and I remember when I decided to hand in my resignation, I will not say the title or the name of the person, a very high level in Voila says to me, Haiti is a very cold place, you know. Don't you want to look for a job before you leave us? It's going to be hard for you to make it there.
Wow.
Now, think about my psyche at the time. A young woman being in Haiti in 2008, 2009 was a really bad time here in Haiti.
Yes.
And I had no contacts. My broken down French. And by the way, you know what? We need to change that system.
Did you know what you were going to do after? You
No.
had an idea?
No. Today I think. Back then, I had enough confidence in myself to know wherever I land or whatever I do, I'm gonna be okay. I spent a year there. It was a beautiful experience in the sense of I learned how to grow up. I think when we're in this state, we think that the labor law is going to protect us. Here is a little bit different. I can say at the time I was gullible. I was used a lot, you know?
Yes.
I felt like everybody made me feel like I was the luckiest person in this world, so I needed to carry the entire Haiti in my back, which I'm still struggling with, but I'm doing better. I think I've been very blessed in my life. And I have the tendency of always putting myself in positions where I am sacrificing myself for the benefit of others, which Haiti does not operate like that.
But you told me also that your father was one of your biggest cheerleader also.
Oh yes, if I say today, Dad, you know what? I'm gonna jump into this sea and I'm gonna swim to Cuba. She's gonna be, you go baby, you can do it. You know, I believe in you.
That's a great thing, that's very important.
I believe in you.
That's very
My
important
mother would
to
be like,
have.
oh my gosh, you're going to die. So I had two different upbringing. My dad made me feel I could conquer the world. When I called him and I said, I got a job, my dad was like, you go. My mother cried for 3 months. So it was, my dad made me feel that I can do this.
Yeah.
After my experience with Voila, and I need to tell you this too, and people need to be careful about this, about intimidation here in Haiti. They brought me here, I had no one. I had really no family members, and I remember when I decided to hand in my resignation, I will not say the title or the name of the person, a very high level in Voila says to me, Haiti is a very cold place, you know. Don't you want to look for a job before you leave us? It's going to be hard for you to make it there.
Wow.
Now, think about my psyche at the time. A young woman being in Haiti in 2008, 2009 was a really bad time here in Haiti. And I had no contacts. My broken down French. And by the way, you know what? We need to change that system. Okay? We need to learn how to speak Creole.
I know.
You know, we need to stop intimidating people.
People may say to me that, oh, it's because you speak perfect French and you speak English. However, I think that if we want to make it, because remember, you have the Republic of Port-au-Prince, which is the capital, but we have the Republic of Haiti, and a lot of kids, they don't have the opportunity to speak French before they go to school. So how can you ask a little kid to learn already in 2 languages? They have to go to school and learn in French and also learn the material. So it's impossible. I think we should do it like we did for English. Because sometimes they ask me where I learn English. I learned it in school because I went to a Catholic school. We had great teachers. So I never left Haiti. So I didn't live.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I thought you lived in the States.
No. My mom lived in the States.
Okay.
But, you know, so school taught me English. So in my mind, this should be done also for French. You know, yes, I know French is our first language. Maybe push it a little more for French, but also the kid can be taught French and the other material in English, in Creole. So we need to speak Creole first and foremost and know how to learn it. And nowadays, I'm trying not to say Creole, I'm trying to say Haitian, because I know that people are trying to, you know, it's the Haitian language, like the English language. So now I'm trying to say the Haitian language instead of Creole. Because, you know, when you say Creole,
It's a bit fast.
yes, it's like, it's a bad thing to speak Creole.
Only the lower end.
Yes, the lower end,
exactly. And this was one of the biggest challenges that I had faced here. I left everything that I knew in the States. I came here, but it was such a bureaucratic system. And you know what? My biggest weakness was that I couldn't communicate. You know, so looking for another job, for example, was a challenge.
Yes.
Because, you know, even though I had the broken down Frenches, but I would mix a lot of the words.
Of course, with English or with Creole, yes.
In that time, I felt like less than who I am. I felt like my self-esteem was hit.
Oh my God.
You know, and I felt like, okay, so I'm gonna leave Voila because I don't like the culture of a variety of things. But now, I'm less of a professional than I am because I can communicate. I can do the zuzus, you understand?
Yeah, yes.
But being who I am and I'm gonna tell you why Voila didn't break me. I've had so much experiences where I had to build my character. I'll give you an example. My first job, my very first high-end job was in Connecticut. I was working for a financial firm. I was in college, and I was managing millionaires' money. And when they speak to me over the phone, my accent is a bit different because Connecticut, they like to say I have a white accent. Me, I like to say, you know what, I came from 2 islanders and I was going to do whatever it was to do to get the good education and speak properly. I'm not trying to be white. I'm just trying to get everything that they didn't have and they were able to give to me. So to go back to the story, the owner of the company speaks with me over the phone. He was in love with me. I did my job well, and then one day, he came to visit. When he came to visit, he saw a black girl, a Haitian girl at that, sitting in the front of his office managing millions. And he went back to the HR personnel and said, I'm not comfortable for her to be in the front office. Please send her to the back office.
Oh my God.
And I'm different. I didn't sit there and go, ooh, they don't like me because I'm black, so what?
Yeah.
That's what, then this is my dad. Okay, you don't feel like I'm, you know, because of my complexion or my skin, that I can handle your portfolio? Whatever. I moved on. But this was the outside. On the inside, it took a lot, and my father to tell me, you're not less of a person, you know, for you to be able to overcome that. I had that experience. And then when I went to Manhattan, my first job, I was the assistant of a very high-level person. This company used to provide security for the stars.
Okay.
Really big people. And live in Connecticut, got my first job. I was so proud. And on the second day of work, HR called me and said, we have something for you. And they gave me a bonus of $5,000. I'm like, yes, I'm broke. You know, I have school loans. Oh my gosh, $5,000 at my age, it's a lot of money. So I did what any responsible youth, 22-year-old would do at the time.
You paid some debts,
probably?
probably?
Debts, yes. Give my little brother, because he was in private school, help with my little brother. And 2 weeks later, my high-end superstar boss called me in and said, Miss Jeudi, did you receive a check from HR? I'm like, yes, sir, thank you. And he looked at me from head to toes and he was like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, I don't understand. He says, well, you dress very country. That check was for you to go buy clothes. Giovanna, I don't know if it's my trait or my father or my upbringing. I'm very tough. I said, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I took it. I said, oh, I'm sorry, sir, but it's spent now, so how do we handle that? He says, well, let me speak with HR. Went to the bathroom. Cried so hard. I had my Sunday's best, you know? This was a job in Manhattan, you know? Yes. I had the best shoes that I had from school, but you know what? It was not enough for him. And those 2 experiences kind of helped me, shaped me to deal when I came here. And it was no different. I was in the white man's lane when they were treating me like this. But when I came back home,
it was home, yeah.
It was worse. It was worse. I mean, I got criticized for everything you can imagine. I had a situation with my ankle, where my ankle kept swelling because of the air and everything else that you know, change of the body. And I couldn't wear heels. My managers and directors would make jokes at me. They would laugh at me.
Oh my God.
They would say that I'm not up to par, but they never understood that I had a medical situation. So when we talk of challenges to go back in Haiti, we'll stick to Haiti. As Haitian women, it's a very tough system. And if you don't have the attitude of, you know what, you cannot make me feel less of a person that I am, they will drain you.
Yes.
They will drown you.
That's true. That's true. You have to be very, very tough.
You have to be tougher than a man.
Yes, tougher than a man. And in my profession, very, very challenging. As a lawyer, the other lawyers, they look at everything. Men lawyers,
Okay.
Men, they look at everything. How you dress, how you talk, how you fix your hair.
Even for you who was born and raised here and you
Yes,
have your roots here,
yes.
you get judged as well.
Yes, definitely. In court, they would try.
Okay.
Because me, as you said, I had parents also. My grandfather was very, very caring for me and always put me up. And my mom also. However, yes, when they tell you things or they do things to you, you're like, but not for very long. And this is, what I want to do with this show also, and also teach young women how to overcome those challenges. Also, when they listen to stories of successful women, successful entrepreneur Haitian women also, I hope that they will, take something from it. And when they listen to our stories, so they can, go forward with their dreams.
It starts here. We all have weaknesses. I have so many of them. But you know what? Embrace your strength. And don't ever let anyone tell you you're less
I
of a
always
person.
tell them that.
Exactly. So after my
Your
experience with Voila, I had a bank that called me to replace a director. And at the same time, I had an NGO. And I'm also someone who's very honest. I picked the NGO because after a year at Voila, I now understood that there were certain weaknesses, no matter how much I fought with someone, that will not be overseen. And the banking system is very bureaucratic. And I knew I didn't speak French. I couldn't stay on the board, and I knew that it would be the same challenges. So I ventured into the NGO world for about a year, but always with the main purpose of opening up my own HR firm.
That's it, girl.
And I opened that HR firm because I wanted to provide professionals who are in the States the guidance that I didn't have. If there was an HSNBR,
that's an opportunity, guys. This is how we do it. Yes, yes.
I saw me migrating here with absolutely no clue idea of anything and the trauma that it caused me. And I can tell you, I went through a lot of challenges in the white man's land, we can call it that. But the one here was tougher on me. It was really, really tough. So
it's your own people.
It's your own people.
Doing that to you.
Exactly. So I stayed a year into the NGO. At that time, I didn't have much challenges because they respected my academic background. They respected who I was. It's a company that I left up until today. They asked me to come back. I spent a year and a half with them, and after that I opened up Haiti Staffing and Business Resources, which is a human resources company that provides HR services throughout Haiti. And my main goal and focus is to be the bridge between the employer and the employee without any kind of discrimination. I work a lot not today, but after the earthquake, I worked a lot with a lot of people like myself, like you, who wanted to come back home. I guide them from A through Z, and I always tell people, I made it. I'm one of the few that toughed it out.
But you know that only a few always makes it, because people have to understand that it's not a given thing. You have to work very, very, very hard at it. It's not a question of being black or being, my own humble opinion also. I know there are challenges. I know we have to work harder to get where we want to be. However, nothing is a done deal. You have to work.
Yes.
You have to, focus. Anything you want to do, you have to work a lot to get it.
And
You
you
know,
have-
not a few hours or a few days a week.
Oh no.
You have to work and work.
You
and
work harder for the
harder.
young
But you will
and-
make it. You will make it.
For female entrepreneurs, let me tell you, the title is beautiful, but let me tell you, it's a 24-hour job.
Yes, it is.
And you have to have the strategy. When I opened HSN and BR, there was 2 other people who was doing recruitments. I came with a system that was very audacious, in the sense of the candidates did not pay me; it was the clients that paid me. People laughed at me. It was like, Haiti is a country that has, you know, there's 1,000 people for one job. Why should we pay you? Why not the candidate? And I said, you know what? There were 3 things. The candidate already at the lower end, okay? And number 2, I teach the companies, once you invest in your staff from the get-go, you will make sure to pick the right type of staffs, okay, to grow with you, and you will take care of the type of recruitments that you do.
That's one of our biggest issues. I think that stopped us from going forward faster. Is that
The job market.
yes, the job, the employer, they're always criticizing the employees, but not a lot of companies, you know, they invest in their staff. Because of what you just said, they know that, okay, it doesn't work with her or him, yes, we'll find someone.
Exactly.
Exactly, but they don't understand that the energy that you put into changing from time to time an employee, you lose the focus on growing your company. And I think that you should, you know, take the time to choose the right candidate and invest in that person
That's the only way
and
to
help the person. Why the hell not? You know, that person can stay forever with you or go and have their own endeavors, but the country will benefit from that.
Exactly, and I must also tell those youth, when you want to become an entrepreneur, you cannot have a chip over your shoulder when you want to start out. And I'll tell you why. When I started HSN and BR, I had a partner who was a Caucasian lady that I met at Voila, who loved me. She was one of the most difficult person. Nobody could recruit for her. Within a week, I gave her the ideal assistant.
Wow.
And she says, you know what? Whenever you're ready to start a business, I'm going to invest with you. My Haitian sisters were not going to say that,
No.
but she did. When I launched the company, they thought I was her assistant because she was white.
Oh my God.
But it didn't bother me. I know who I am.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, if I can use that to lunch, I'm going to use it to
Yes,
lunch.
exactly. Use
You
all
know,
the disadvantage
You
and
have to.
advantage.
And
Yes.
drop the
I say
ego.
that.
Drop
Yes.
the ego.
Just for now.
Just for
Just
now.
for now. Then after that, you can shine.
You know what? I don't even care about
Yes.
shining. What is your main purpose? What is the main goal that you want to accomplish? She was someone who was very popular because she was managing the White Cliff Foundation at the time.
Okay.
So when I left while I went to Finca, we always kept in touch and she invested with me. And I remember I went to a meeting with her. She was doing networking and I was doing the technical work because I'm mostly very
She
shy.
told me that.
And I got to the meeting, and this was sad. Haitian woman like myself walked out, and she walked out and went to the lady. Hi, Mrs. Jeudi? And I'm standing there because you know what? In her mind, at the time we had blown really big. We were the one who recruited for Zamila something. We were the one who staffed them.
Those
the
are
main
big NGOs, the
NGOs,
main
exactly.
companies and
Main
NGOs
companies.
in
We're working
Haiti.
with top NGOs, and the name HSNBO was making a lot of
No
noise.
noise.
So I couldn't be Mrs. Jeudi.
Yeah.
It had
She
to
had
be,
to be. It had to
you
be
know.
her.
And she says, "No, I'm not Mrs. Jeudi. This is my boss." I'm like, "Hi." And this happened a lot.
Yeah.
I laughed it off,
Of course.
you know. And I think this is
Who
one
cares?
thing. Who
You're
cares?
going to the bank. You're banking.
At the end of the day,
exactly,
you
at
know.
the end of the day.
And you know, and I think this is one thing, it is advice that we need to give young entrepreneurs. The ego dropped it. It doesn't really matter. You know, who cares who they think is Mrs. Jeudi? You know, and if you don't have that maturity, this would traumatize you.
Yes.
You would feel all kind of ways. But to me, listen, if my cleaning lady doesn't come to the office, I take the broom and the mop and I sweep. I clean the toilets with pride. So, and I think I think the Haitian females have to understand, number one, we are much more than mothers. We are much more than housekeepers, because I will tell you that we were raised to find a man to take care of us.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what level of professionalism you reach. You know, your parents tell you when
You need to get married, yes, exactly.
When are you having a child? When are you getting married? We're much more than that. I'm very old-fashioned.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a wife and a mother.
We want both.
But you know
we
what?
want everything.
Exactly. But I want to stand by my
Yes.
husband while he's bringing in $1. I can bring at least $1,
Also,
even
yes,
if it's
even
less.
more. This is why I always aim for, like, you know, power couples. This is what they do. You know, you have a partner. It's not like just a husband. It's a partner in crime.
And we have to stop accepting the fact that we're a wife and a mother. There's so much more to you than that. And I think once that mindset is changed in Haiti, a lot of things will be different.
For women, yes. We
For
need
women.
to stand
For
on
men as
our
well.
own, yes.
For men as well. You know, once
Yes,
men
because
start
we have to
treating
change,
us,
exactly. We have
exactly.
to teach them. Yes.
Once men start treating us like materials and being a wife, their life will be better.
Yeah, that's true. But you, Rose, as an HR person, how do you find the job market here in Haiti? Because I know it's very tough. So, what kind of advice, what do you see, what, you know, pops up in your head when you see those candidates or you have companies calling you to find them people?
The job market has, we're going to separate it into two aspects. We're going to talk about the employers and we're going to talk about the employees, okay? The job market in Haiti is extremely, extremely tough because it's very informal, okay?
Yeah.
What does that mean? There's not one company that I know of that have a salary grid other than the international companies. Wow, you're beautiful. I had budgeted $1,000, but you know what? Let me give you 2. Type of a deal.
Or less if when you come,
And
you
you
don't
come-
fit
They feel that you are desperate.
Yes,
okay?
exactly.
The job market, to me, is one of the biggest issues that Haiti is facing. And not until we change that, Haiti is not going to go anywhere. What are the problems that I see on the employer side? Having a job description is a process. Even today, many companies are hiring, they don't have a KPI, they don't have a job description. They have an idea, I'm looking for an accountant, but they don't really sit down and decide what this
task description.
Yeah, job description. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do I need this person to bring in as an added value?
Yes.
Okay. Even those who make the effort of having a job description, there are certain job description I'm looking at. I mean, it's really funny, even for you as on a legal aspect. Female, 22. I mean, it still focuses on the old age. You know, I have employers asking me for pictures of the candidates.
Oh my God.
Still. Okay? On the employer side, there's a lot of work. They don't like
That's opportunity also.
Yes.
That's just like you said.
If anyone, exactly.
Yes, this is something that should be taught to the employers.
Exactly.
But nobody's doing it here. This is one of the reasons of the show also, because you have her life part, like the entrepreneur, women that comes and explain how her life is actually as an entrepreneur also. But also I want to show people that there are areas that you can come and invest in also. And you don't need a lot of infrastructure. Because you know, when you hear Haiti, investors, they only hear like huge investment. Let's say in agriculture. They will tell them, okay, you need $10 million or $300 million, let's say, for a telecommunication company to come and set here in Haiti. But they don't think of the many more other opportunities, less expensive to invest in, that they could come and make money and grow. You know, so this is one of them.
Yeah,
and you don't even have to live in Haiti. You can contact Rose and she can do that also, or you can do a partnership with someone and just coming in. The money would be to coming here with, you know, specialists to show the companies what to do.
Or they need
you wouldn't even have to come in and leave it if you don't want to, or if you're afraid of the country.
Yes, and consultants.
Exactly.
And when we're talking about recruitments too, one thing that I noticed, this is by in any way to not appreciate anyone's expertise, but recruitment, it's a career in itself.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of people don't know that it's not you have a job description that's already not technical, and then
just
you
looking for
compare it
someone,
with
yeah.
the CV and
Yeah.
you like the person and you merge. Recruitment, I always tell my clients that it's a job in itself and it requires certain set skills to do those type of recruitments. And that's one of the issues of the major companies. The recruitments, 60 or 70% of them are done wrong, or placing the wrong
From
type
the
of
get-go.
people from the into positions.
Yes.
Another problem that I see, they go through the process of recruitment, they hire the person. There's no induction period. How do you have someone buy into your values when they don't even know what it is? There's no orientation.
Yes. That's a word I always heard my mom say when she was, beginning a new job. She had a week of orientation.
Yes.
They don't do that here.
Yes.
No, they just have the labor code that, you have the probation, which is 3 months, but that has nothing to do with the orientation. They don't have that.
And even on probation aspects, today all probation are based on individual posts.
Yeah.
We don't use generic probation anymore. For example, if I have a finance director, there are certain questions to rate that person's capabilities based on what they are doing. And the companies too, I must also say, are still operating in the way that this is what I had told you before: invest in your employees. Okay,
Trainings.
they see profit, and you just the little rotation to get them to the profit. But nobody cares on how you're doing. Nobody cares if you are well placed. Nobody cares to even know if you even like the company.
That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing.
So if I don't like you, if I don't believe in what you're doing, how
How
can
can I help you grow also?
Which is why the customer service.
Sucks. Sucks.
I can't say
indeed.
sucks because
Yes,
I don't get
it
in
does.
trouble.
Sucks. I can tell you. I can say it for you. Sucks. And this is another opportunity also that, people should look into. Give that, because you cannot do everything. You can work with someone that does that, because you just said that. HR, but you have several components, that people need to have together for HR to be a good thing, or a great, sector. But here, yes.
They don't believe in HR.
No.
HR is still in administrative tasks here. So that's perhaps the fault of the employers. At the same time, the employers have a lot of challenges.
Yes, now let's talk about the employee part.
The employees, we still are operating in the mindset that I need a mother and a father to get a job. We don't do what we need to do.
Yeah.
We don't do what we need to do to actually get the job. We don't understand our faults and our weaknesses. If we huge. I don't know how many times I would ask someone, and I'm talking about people with 7, 8, 9 years experience. I'm talking about professionals who said, so what do you think are your weaknesses? I'm a perfectionist. Okay. We still have not taken the time to understand what we are able to do and what we are not able to do, and to work on what we are not able to do. The employees, to me, they are not proactive with their career. Can you imagine? I was just taken to HR. You have an HR professional with 11, 12 years experience in HR, and you pull out the labor code. You ask certain questions. They don't even read it. They don't do research. They don't educate themselves. And I always tell them, guys, whatever field that you're in, you really want to be a professional, you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to read.
Yeah.
You need to always be self-taught.
This is one other big issue here. We don't read. They don't like to read.
No.
Even if it's like in front of you, they don't read. They assume.
They assume. So what happens in the job market? You go to the interview, you already go with the mindset of mediocre. You don't sell yourself well. Let me tell you, Giovanna, there are times I have one position and 4 or 5 months later I'm not finding the right candidate.
Oh my God. And there's not even enough jobs here in Haiti. Yeah.
Because people don't understand that there's an aspect that we rate, which is your personality. You can be wonderful, technical, okay? But if your attitude sucks, you're not going anywhere. And we're not going to hire you because 60% of who you are, you're going to bring it into the job market, into your work. So the candidate needs to change their mindset. If you go to an interview, you didn't get hired, it's not because we didn't like you. Something happened where we felt like you were not the right match. Understand that, ask questions to your recruiter, and change that.
Work on it. Yeah.
Just because you have a diploma.
What kind of, because it's very important also for someone that wants to become an entrepreneur, a woman, what could be your general advice on that for these ladies? Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere,
make sure, for Haiti specifically.
For Haiti, because you know what I always say also, and I said it in the introduction, the video introduction, you need to go look at that. I say that if we made it here,
we can make it anywhere. I agree.
Anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
And when I say make it also, I have to be specific. You don't have to become like a multi-millionaire or a billionaire. That's not the point. What I'm saying is that you can set yourself and have sufficient incomes to be, you know, very well and buy whatever you want. If you want to travel, if you want to buy your house, you know. I'm talking about that kind of financial security, freedom. That's the word I was looking at. What would be your advice?
Before we even get to the advice, let me say this. In Haiti, everyone thinks that they're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Everyone wants to be an
That's
entrepreneur.
a huge issue, yes. You know, that's the vibe.
That's
it's a world vibe.
Yeah, and which is why the job market is the way it is. And I always tell them, if you're not a good employee, you're not going to be a good boss. Thank you. That's number one. And sometimes you have to be honest with yourself and say, can you really manage that? It's a lot of stress. Make sure being an entrepreneur is what you want. Make sure you are passionate about it.
Yes, because if you are an employee, it's not a bad thing.
No.
You know, it's not a bad thing. You can become like a CEO or director. It's not a bad thing also. Entrepreneurial is not for everyone.
Not for everyone. Make sure that you want to merge into that area because this is what your passion is, not to just hold the title to say, you know what, I have my own business.
Passion has everything
to do with it. Like, my parents tell me I had my first business when I was 3 years old. I didn't even know how to write, and my mom is showing me her handwriting. I used to read books. I'm a nerd. I spend my life in books. So I would read books to kids at 3 years old.
Oh my God.
You know, and my mom kept the books, and I will ask you for the money too, you know. So you have to be, this has to be what you really want as an entrepreneur. Advices that I can give you. You don't have life.
Yes.
You know.
So you need to be prepared for that.
You have to be prepared for that, and you also have to, on the get-go, be in check with your finances. In Haiti, you're not going to have a lot of opportunities to get finance or credits. So keep in mind that once you start your business, your lifestyle will change for a couple of years, and you have to be okay with that. You're going to be putting money in. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come out. In my aspect, I had a very good chance because I was providing a service that was needed at the time. I was able to get my investment with my first contract. But that investment, I didn't go shopping. That investment, I didn't go travel. I injected it into the business so we can grow. As an entrepreneur, you cannot be coordinating your long vacations earlier than your employees. I can tell you, Giovanna, the first 4 years that I had HSNBR, my mom used to cry. I never took vacation. I never had a vacation because you know what? On Fridays was the day for me to close out the week. On the weekends was the planning. On Monday, I'm back again. So my life was like 4 years with no vacation, no spending on myself. Nothing, absolutely. And this is important for them to know that once you launch your own business, if you have your staff coming in at 8 o'clock, you cannot be waltzing in at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
You have to be stricter than your employees, specifically in Haiti with the mindset and the culture that we have here. Your employees have to see that you are serious for them to be serious. And this is one of the failures of most young entrepreneurs. They have a business just to say that I have my own business.
Especially boutiques.
Boutiques, they have no disciplines within themselves to manage the staff because they talk to the employees any which ways. And they work, they pull out a chair, they sit down and they cross their legs and they have everybody do everything. at HSNBR, if I treasure my staff. But if all of them decide to go on strike, I will operate. You know why? From the person
But I see that now with the lock.
With the lock,
yes,
I had to minimize
several times.
I released 5 staffs.
Yes.
But you know what I did?
But
I learned everybody's
yes.
jobs. You cannot be a boss and you don't know what your employees are doing, what the job that they are doing.
These days, yes. Sorry, these days I go to my clients because you know we had to let go of some staff at the practice, at the law practice. So now
you're on everything.
Yes. Some of the work I do. I used to do it when I first started, but now I do it. But I don't mind because it's a way of surviving the situation up until we can, do it
that's what an entrepreneur is. There were times you're going to make 200-300 profits. There were times you're going to make negative 300, and you have to be okay with that.
Yes.
Being an entrepreneur is a mindset. First and foremost, you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to deal with all type of situations, all type of clients, all types of employees. Drop the prima donna attitude, okay? Because culturally we're like that, specifically women.
Yeah.
You don't waltz in your office at 12 o'clock and your office is open at 8 o'clock and you think that they're going to be working for you. Sadly, this is not how the other worlds operate, but this is how we operate here.
Yes, that's true.
You have to be on point. And there are days, there are months, you're not going to have a payroll. And ladies, please, if you have your business, have an accountant take care of your finances.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
I've had HSNBR since 2010. I have yet to write a check without the accountant giving me approval. I have a payroll. Give yourself a payroll. Okay? Establish a payroll. And please, ladies, if you start a business, don't give yourself a $5,000 payroll.
Salary.
Let me tell you, when I looked, it says, you know what my payroll was? $500 US. That's it. And I had to hold it for a year. And every month, they give me that little money.
Yes, that's like a fee. Yeah.
Like a fee or commission.
Yes.
So number one thing, and get an accountant. And of course,
very important.
This subject is so wide that we will not have time in this show to cover it.
But we will come back because we have a project that we are working on
which gives step-by-step details on the successful of an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Haitian female entrepreneur. Which is
and
really
all the areas where there are opportunities. And like I said before, when you hear Haiti, like when you type Haiti, because we have like a facilitation center here, but I went on their website, and this is one of the things that bothers me, is that they only talk about the in style, let's say, like it's in these days, so this is only what you see in the CFI. So they only talk about industry. We have a very low salary rate, so for China, but now we even have it lower. So they want to bring investors. So they only talk about industries, they only talk about telecommunication, or they only talk about resort or tourism. But we have so much more opportunities in every sector that you can think of.
It's a virgin
system for
businesses.
Yes, exactly. And where the investment would be so much less, substantial to start. So, and I know that a real investor knows that they are a failure. A lot of them, they invest in a business that doesn't work. So I think that opportunity is there, and then if we lead them right, a lot of people can do a lot of things.
And I think it's also important to mention that with the platform that that's coming out too, one of the biggest issues is when a foreigner comes here, the adaptation process, and I know your platform is going to teach them, how to be a stable system here. Because you have the government you have to fight with, you have the people that you have to fight with. And Haiti can be expensive when you don't know
your environment.
Yes,
so this is what we want to,
The expatriate elimination, I also think is going to be a great one for all investors.
Because, as I said, also diaspora like you, we want them here because
we need them here.
Yes, we need you, we want you. However, we know it's a difficult environment to navigate when you don't know anyone. Look what happened to you. But however, you stayed and you made it.
Yes.
So it's possible for everyone, foreign people or diaspora. We would prefer women, of course.
Yes.
Because we want to push
Women power.
Women power, empowering women. However, everybody's welcome. And youth also, youth. Because here we have, I think, almost half of the population is under 25,
Yes.
35 or 25, I'm not sure, I have to get my facts straight. But it's a young population. And you know, there's a lot that we can do with them also. And in every aspect.
Every area,
every area.
trainings with the
Every
training
sector
sector
yes.
is going to help because they are not from a corporate environment, they're not from an environment where they teach them financial responsibilities, they're not from an environment where they teach them to stand independent for themselves. So I think
how
that
to
project
get a
exactly.
job, you know, we don't have that.
No,
So,
we don't.
so that's, but besides HR, what other opportunity sectors you see, because you live here, what do you think is lacking? Sorry.
What is lacking in what area?
Any, because what I'm asking you is that when you go out, what do you see that you don't get, that there is none here? Like a service, or like, let's say, I don't know, you go to the supermarket, because let's say fruits and vegetables, do you find enough Haitian grown vegetables,
No.
let's say, or
If they're
in
growing in that
any
market,
sector?
exactly. Oh my gosh, there is so much opportunities here. And I was telling this to a friend of mine. Unfortunately, I'm too old and I've had enough challenges in my life to venture into anything more. But oh my gosh, when we talk about supermarkets, for example, the supermarkets, for the most part, are for people with big pockets. You know, why can't we not have like street supermarkets?
Yes.
For example, when we talk about, in that environment.
That would be fantastic. This is something I'm always thinking about because, you know,
we don't have a mall.
No,
we don't have a mall.
We don't have malls.
You know, where.
But the street markets for like fruits, that would be
Yes.
fantastic. Even for the meat or like a meat packing area, we don't have that.
And when I talk about mall, I'm not talking about malls, huge malls, because those people who can spend in the malls can travel. But we're talking about like Florida has them, I forgot the name of it, where there's a big space and little merchants can come and sell things properly.
Clean. A clean space.
Exactly. When you go to Petrofield, you see all of these artists, they can be inside of a place instead of somebody going to buy it outside and pulling out their pockets outside. There's so much opportunities here.
Something when you talk about Petrofield, which is like the area where the business is
it's kind of like the capital of Haiti right now.
But you see, parking, we don't have parking spaces.
Car washes.
Yes.
You know what it is? Because there's not a lot of investors and a lot of business, everything becomes a luxury here.
Exactly.
You know, an ice cream shop that I'm not going to spend $3 US to buy, where anyone can take their daughter or son to an ice cream shop. You know, little big tailors and everything like that. That's a very good business strategy, and it doesn't cost much.
No.
But it has to be in a place where it's welcomed, not in the streets.
And you know, this is one of the things that the issue I have with entrepreneurs and people doing commerce here in Haiti, because most of the population cannot afford or blessed, like we were saying, not to say poor, they don't take care of the clients. And this is like the customer care. Because they think the people cannot pay or doesn't have money, they don't, you know, like the space is not welcoming.
Yeah,
they do it like, oh, whatever, they will come because there's no other like that, or it's for these people, they won't see that the place is not,
they cater to one type of people. And here's another opportunities. When we go to the north, we have beautiful beaches.
Oh my God.
Gorgeous. We have the Cameroon, we have Monesumia, we have this, we have that. But you know what? We don't have a next step for the youth.
Yes.
For the young.
Less expensive
for the youth that are working and would like to be part of that.
Exactly. But still a proper neat place.
Exactly. And that won't cost much. It won't cost like the Cameroon. Like 10 or 20%. That's a great investment opportunity. You know, there's so many things that you can do. Haiti is a beautiful place to venture in, even though now we're having a lot of political crisis.
But that never stopped.
Tour guides,
for someone to invest.
you know, take the people to a tour guide. That's a business.
Yes. Yes. We have some
trips,
but
they're very high level.
Yes, they're very high end. And I think that for the youth and even for Haitian to learn their culture and their history also, we don't do that anymore. Because I remember when I was in school, we had 2 or 3 per year. Like we would be taken to a bus tour to a place that we didn't know, and we would stay like for a week or a day.
Yeah, but it would cost your mom pretty
money.
So what about the next? Exactly. What about the lesser?
Yeah.
And we focused a lot on Port-au-Prince. There's so much opportunities in the provinces.
I don't want to stay in Port-au-Prince.
You know,
I always say that.
And we need to bring the investors in the provinces.
Yes.
This is where everything is open.
And it's gonna
anything works there.
Anything will work. Anything will work. And you will make your money worth more faster than if you do it in Port-au-Prince.
It's saturated.
Yeah, it is.
And when we think about a little small movie theater,
do
you understand how many children who would come and pay to watch a movie, to sit in a salon with a popcorn?
Outside.
Exactly.
We used to have drive-ins. I remember when I was young, we don't have that anymore. No. But in the provinces, like the rural areas, you could do that. Because now technology has become so cheap, you know, so it's very easy for someone to have like huge projectors or whatever and do that. It's a small business, but if you have 10 within the country,
exactly.
Have a chain, so there in the volume, you will make your buck.
So when we talk about what's lacking, I would say go to the provinces, anything you do will work.
Yeah, that's true.
Teach
any area.
Teach potteries.
Yes, yes.
And we have,
here in Haiti, we have a culture is very rich, and we have a lot of artisans. But what we lack in is the
materials for them to
work, because everything is done by hand. And now
locally
to improve their craft, you know, they would be happy to have those material and someone to teach them how to use it,
and how to get it too.
Yes, exactly. Get it also.
Paying 500 times worth of it.
Yes.
So I think the opportunities, when they say, I know that right now Haiti is going through its crisis, but I strongly believe Haiti is really open for business. When I look in, throughout Haiti,
yes, of course,
there's
a way to do it.
There are.
There's a way to do it.
Aside from Port-au-Prince in the provinces, there's a lot of opportunities here.
We do not only aim to have like tourism, basic tourism. No, you have so much more around that you can work with.
Yes, that I agree.
So thank you, Rose, because
thank you for having me.
We've been talking. So Rose, I was saying that I was thanking you. I have to get my English straight. It's not my mother tongue, people, because I know in these comments. Thank you very much. But I also want to say that the purpose is for a wider audience to be able to understand and learn about Haiti and women in Haiti also. This is why I did it in English also. I could have done it in French or in Creole. Creole, I'm thinking about another kind of show.
French, I would have been part of it.
But English, that's why I chose English as the speaking language for this show. So thank you again.
Thank you for
having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And then when you have another business coming in, you have to come back and talk to us about it also.
Well, I do have another business, but we're not going to talk about it.
But here, something else also, we are multitask. You know, we do not do only one thing here in Haiti, because it's not possible to just live out of one job or one business.
The market is tough.
Yes, the market is tough. So we always looking for other opportunities. As entrepreneurs, as we are, this is the job of an entrepreneur, is grow one business and then switch to another. So five is, I think, the top, but
at my age, I think 3 is good for me.
Yes, me too. Me 3. But for a younger person, they can develop at least 5 companies.
Yeah, but don't touch too many things
No,
at once.
once.
Master
One,
one.
exactly. Once you master one, then you can go.
Well, thank you for having me. And ladies, this is what we call a strong Haitian woman.
Yes.
You know,
Thank you.
empowering other
This is
Haitian
what you
women, and this is
yes.
really beautiful. And we are for because I've not seen that here based on my experience. So this is really a beautiful, beautiful project.
Thank you very much.
And we will be back very soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be informed of our next episode. And please go on the channel and listen to the other episodes. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.